Good evening. This is All India Radio and I am Valsa Williams with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says national education policy will establish India as a global education destination. Parliament passes several important bills including Essential Commodities Amendment Bill and Companies Amendment Bill. Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar accuses opposition of misleading farmers on farm bills. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 80.86%. Prime Minister to review preparedness of COVID response and management in 6 high-focus states and a union territory tomorrow. And Enforcement Directorate attaches 15 properties of underworld criminal Iqbal Mirchi in Dubai. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said the National Education Policy (NEP) will establish India as a global education destination and open up new opportunities in the country. The Prime Minister was addressing the Convocation ceremony of IIT Guwahati through video conferencing today.
Research collaboration और स्टूडेंट एक्सेस प्रोग्राम को भी प्रमोट किया जाएगा. फॉरेन यूनिवर्सिटीज में हमारे स्टूडेंट्स जो क्रेडिट एक्वायर करेंगे वो भी अब देश के इंस्टीट्यूशंस में काउंट हो सकेंगे. इतना ही नहीं, नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी भारत को ग्लोबल एजुकेशन डेस्टिनेशन के तौर पर भी एस्टैब्लिश करेगी.
Mr. Modi expressed hope that the dream of the young minds would shape the reality of the country in the coming days. He said the NEP is aimed at connecting education with technology.
राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति को मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी बनाया गया है. सब्जेक्ट की फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी दी गई है. मल्टीपल एंट्री एंड एग्जिट के अवसर दिए गए हैं. और सबसे अहम, देश की नई एजुकेशन पॉलिसी एजुकेशन को टेक्नोलॉजी से जोड़ेगी. टेक्नोलॉजी को हमारे स्टूडेंट्स की थिंकिंग का इंटीग्रल पार्ट बनाएगी. यानी स्टूडेंट्स टेक्नोलॉजी के बारे में भी पढ़ेंगे और टेक्नोलॉजी के जरिए भी पढ़ेंगे. एजुकेशन में आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस का इस्तेमाल हो, ऑनलाइन लर्निंग बढ़े. राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति में इसके रास्ते खोल दिए गए हैं.
The Prime Minister said the National Technology Education Forum is being set up under NEP. The Prime Minister lauded the role of IIT Guwahati in its fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Modi said Assam and the Northeast are full of possibilities and resources and expressed hope that IIT Guwahati would help the region in mitigating flood and landslide as well as promoting local resources through research. The Prime Minister said the institute would play a key role in setting up the Indian Knowledge Institute and a Centre for Disaster Management and Risk Reduction. Parliament has passed several important bills after the Rajya Sabha approved them today. These include the Rajya University Bill, the National Forensic Sciences University Bill, the Banking Regulation Amendment Bill, the Companies Amendment Bill, the Essential Commodities Amendment Bill, and the Indian Institutes of Information Technology Laws Amendment Bill 2020. The Lok Sabha has already passed these bills. The Rajya University Bill establishes the Raksha Shakti University in Gujarat as a university called the Rajya University in the state. The bill declares the university as an institution of national importance. The National Forensic Sciences University Bill aims to establish the Gujarat Forensic Sciences University in Gandhinagar and the Lok Nayak Jayaprakash Narayan National Institute of Criminology and Forensic Sciences in New Delhi as a National Forensic Sciences University in Gujarat. The bill declares the university to be an institution of national importance. The Banking Regulation Amendment Bill amends the Banking Regulation Act 1949, which regulates the functioning of banks and provides details on various aspects such as licensing, management and operations of banks. It will replace the Banking Regulation Amendment Ordinance, which was promulgated in June this year. Replying to a discussion on the bill, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that this bill is important as so many cooperative banks have faced serious difficulties in the recent past. She said amendments have been made to completely protect the interest of depositors, ensuring to abolish the difficulties faced by cooperative banks in their functioning.
In presenting this particular set of amendments, I wish to highlight and state upfront that this set of amendments to the Banking Regulation Act is being brought to completely protect the interest of depositors.
The Companies Amendment Bill removes the penalty and imprisonment for certain offences made in violation of the legislation. In addition, it also reduces the amount of fine payable in certain offences under the ambit of legislation. The Essential Commodities Amendment Bill allows the central government to regulate the supply of certain food items only under extraordinary circumstances such as war and famine. The Rajya Sabha has returned the Taxation and Other Laws Relaxation and Amendment of Certain Provisions Bill 2020. The Lok Sabha has already passed it. Replying to the bill, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that several laws needed amendments due to the COVID-19 situation. The Lok Sabha passed 3 bills today aimed at improving the working condition of workers and protecting their interests at places of work. These bills were introduced in the Lok Sabha on the 19th of this month. The Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code 2020 seeks to amend the laws regulating the occupational safety, health and working conditions of persons employed in an establishment. The second bill, Industrial Relations Code 2020, aims at amending the laws relating to trade unions, conditions of employment in industrial establishment or undertaking, investigation and settlement of industrial disputes. The third bill, namely the Code on Social Security 2020, seeks to amend the laws relating to social security of the employees in the country. Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar has said the opposition is misleading the farmers in the country by propagating blatant lies about the farm bills. Speaking in the Lok Sabha today, the minister reiterated that the bills do not affect the minimum support price MSP or the process of government procurement in any way. Mr. Tomar asserted that the announcement of increase in an MSP of 6 Rabi crops even before the sowing season shows the commitment of the current government towards minimum support price and procurement of agri-products. He said the bill paves the way for enhanced usage of modern techniques in farming. Opposition parties including the Congress, TMC, DMK, CPM, Samajwadi Party, BSP and NCP among others staged protests against the 3 farm bills in the Lok Sabha while the minister was speaking. The MPs walked into the well of the House and raised slogans and placards against the bill. Opposition parties walked out from the lower house immediately after the statement of the Agriculture Minister. Congress member Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary demanded that the government should include the provision of MSP in the Farm Bill and said the entire opposition has decided to boycott the session until the government agrees to their demands. Earlier, the Lok Sabha was adjourned for an hour after MPs led by the Congress raised slogans and banners to protest against the farm bills. As soon as the House met for the day, Congress MP Ravneet Singh Bittu raised the issue of action by Delhi police on the protesting MPs in the national capital. Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad has said that revoking the suspension of 8 Rajya Sabha members will only be considered after they apologize for their behavior in the upper house. Talking to reporters in New Delhi today, Mr. Prasad said it was expected that the Congress would oppose such unruly behavior by opposition members in the Rajya Sabha. The minister said he has never seen a Congress MP dancing on the Rajya Sabha table and tearing papers. He also asserted that the government had a clear majority in the Rajya Sabha for the passing of the farm bills. The assertion came after a number of opposition parties led by the Congress staged a walkout from the Rajya Sabha demanding that the suspension of 8 members be revoked. The government today said that 44.9 lakh people have recovered from COVID-19 in the country, which is the highest in the world. Briefing media in New Delhi today, Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan said India contributes 17.7% share in the total COVID-19 cases. However, in terms of recovered cases, India shares 19.5% of the total recovered cases.
भारत में विश्व के कुल 17.7% केसेस हैं कोविड के, जबकि विश्व की कुल रिकवरीज में भारत की हिस्सेदारी 19.5। यूएसए में विश्व के कोविड के केसेस के 22.4% हैं, जबकि यूएसए की भागीदारी रिकवरी में 18.6 है, जो भारत से कम। उसी प्रकार ब्राजील की जो हिस्सेदारी है कुल कोविड केसेस में विश्व में वो 14.5% है और उनकी कुल भागीदारी रिकवरी में 16.8% है।
The Health Secretary said the recovery rate has improved to 80.86% and the highest ever single-day recovery of 1 lakh was registered in the last 24 hours. More than 6.5 crore tests have been conducted so far and 12 lakh tests were conducted in a single day. Member Health in Niti Aayog, Dr. V.K. Paul said the overall situation continues to be under control and the country is facing the battle effectively. He said all tests are being conducted now by using indigenously developed kits.
लगभग सारे के सारे ही टेस्ट जो अब हो रहे हैं ओवरवेलमिंगली वो सब इंडियन किट्स जो हमारे ही देश में विकसित किए गए हैं डायग्नोस्टिक किट्स हैं उन्हीं को ही इस्तेमाल करके किए जा रहे हैं और इतनी जबरदस्त बढ़ोतरी हुई है ये इसलिए भी हुई है कि हम अपने ही देश में आत्मनिर्भरता बनाते हुए हमने ये टेस्ट का इजाद किया, अडेप्ट किया, नए टेस्ट भी बनाए और भी नए टेस्ट बनते जा रहे हैं.
Dr. Paul urged everyone to show COVID-appropriate behavior in view of the upcoming festival season by wearing masks. He said wearing a facial mask is most important to fight COVID-19 and to break the chain of transmission. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will chair a high-level virtual meeting with the Chief Ministers and Health Ministers of 7 COVID high-burden states and union territories tomorrow to review the status and preparedness of COVID response and management. More than 63% of the active cases of the country are concentrated in these 7 states and union territories. These are Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Delhi and Punjab. The successful flight test of Abhyas high-speed expendable aerial target was today conducted by Defence Research and Development Organisation DRDO from the interim test range Baleswar in Odisha. During the trials, 2 demonstrator vehicles were successfully test-flown. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh congratulated DRDO and other stakeholders for the achievement and said this can be used as a target for evaluation of various missile systems. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar today outlined India's strong commitment in supporting Africa in its development journey. The minister said any broader global rebalancing is incomplete without the genuine re-emergence of Africa. In an address at a conclave on India-Africa partnership, Dr. Jaishankar said only after genuine emergence of Africa will the world's strategic diversity come into full play. He said New Delhi welcomes the evolution and rise of the continent as a key factor in the contemporary world. The minister also talked about the impact of the coronavirus pandemic and said its consequences will be far-reaching and will define the world order as decolonization did in the 1950s and 1960s. He said the pandemic is the most debilitating global event of the past 80 years and we are at a point in history that is comparable to the aftermath of the Second World War. The Enforcement Directorate ED has provisionally attached 15 properties in Dubai belonging to family members of underworld criminal Iqbal Mirchi under Prevention of Money Laundering Act PMLA. These properties include 1 hotel, namely Midwest Hotel Apartment, and 14 other commercial and residential properties having total value of 101.52 million Arab Emirates dirham, equivalent to over 203 crore rupees. The Uttar Pradesh government has decided to set up a dedicated infotainment zone and rolled out an open offer to the film fraternity to come to the state. Within days of the announcement about the film city in Uttar Pradesh, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath today said that 1,000 acre of land has been identified in Gautam Budh Nagar by Yamuna Expressway Industrial Development Authority, where the infotainment zone will be set up with all world-class civil, public and technological facilities. Welcoming the decision, stalwarts of the film fraternity thanked the state government and said it is the right step at the right time. A bevy of film personalities spoke with the Chief Minister, who presided over the meeting with them on setting up the film industry in the state. We have a report.
The proposed site of Film City is just an hour away from New Delhi and very close to the proposed international airport at Jewar. Having also been close to Agra, the city of Taj, Mathura, the birthplace of Krishna, and near to the proposed logistic hub in Noida, the proposed dry port and freight corridor, this zone provides all facilities of transport and movement. According to the present trend of OTT and media streaming platforms, this zone will have the digital technology of international level. Yogi Adityanath said that the policies of industries will be applicable for the takers and single window mechanism will be used to facilitate those who want to come here and set up their studio. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
All India Radio presents World News. News and views from across the globe. What happened? What is up next? The newsmakers and the highlights of the day. Every day at 10:20 p.m. in the night. On 100.1 FM, All India Radio.
And now it's over to Nishit Kumar for a review of today's proceedings in Parliament.
First, a review of proceedings in the Rajya Sabha. The writer is Sanjeev Chopra of the PTI. The Rajya Sabha today passed 7 key bills, including the crucial Essential Commodities Amendment Bill. In one of its most productive days, the House passed the bills after a number of opposition parties staged a walkout and decided to boycott proceedings of the House till the suspension of 8 members is revoked. The government, however, insisted that the suspended members first apologize and then the government would consider the request for revoking their suspension. The parties that boycotted the proceedings of the House included the Congress, CPIM, CPI, TMC, NCP, SP, Shiv Sena, RJD, DMK, TRS and AAP. The bills passed today are the Indian Institutes of Information Technology Laws Amendment Bill 2020, the Essential Commodities Amendment Bill 2020, the Banking Regulation Amendment Bill 2020, the Companies Amendment Bill 2020, the National Forensic Sciences University Bill 2020, the Rajya Raksha University Bill 2020, and the Taxation and Other Laws, Relaxation and Amendment of Certain Provisions Bill 2020. When the bills were passed, only a few members were present in the House, which included those from the ruling BJP and its ally JDU, and those of parties like the AIADMK, BJD, YSR Congress and TDP, and participated in the debates on the bills. The upper house took up the government's legislative business after nearly an hour of discussion over the conduct of opposition MPs during the passage of 2 agriculture reforms bill on Sunday, with Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu saying the suspension could be revoked if the members expressed regret over their action. First, it passed a bill to declare 5 newly established Indian Institutes of Information Technology IIITs as institutions of national importance. The crucial Essential Commodities Amendment Bill, which removes cereals, pulses, oilseeds, edible oils, onion and potatoes from the list of essential commodities and removes stockholding limits on them, was passed next. This bill is part of the Agriculture Reforms Bill that the government is pushing to raise farm incomes. The bill passed on Sunday gave farmers the freedom to sell produce anywhere in the country and enter into forward contracts with companies. Rajya Sabha also passed amendments to the Bank Regulation Act to bring cooperative banks under the supervision of the RBI in a bid to protect the interest of depositors. Thereafter, the Companies Amendment Bill 2020, which removes the penalty for certain offences, was passed. The National Forensic Sciences University Bill 2020 and the Rajya Raksha University Bill were also passed in quick succession. Thereafter, the Taxation and Other Laws, Relaxation and Amendment of Certain Provisions Bill 2020 to relax time limit on compliance with tax laws, GST payment and filing in view of the coronavirus pandemic. The Essential Commodities Amendment Bill 2020 as well as the Taxation and Other Laws, Relaxation and Amendment of Certain Provisions Bill 2020 replace emergency ordinances. The sitting of the Rajya Sabha was extended by just over an hour beyond the scheduled time to allow the passage of the bills. All the 7 bills have already been passed by the Lok Sabha. Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu earlier lauded Deputy Chairman Harivansh for showing restraint when opposition members were agitating in the House and disapproved of the conduct of the protesting leaders. He also appealed to the opposition members to reconsider their decision of boycotting Rajya Sabha proceedings and asked them to participate in the discussions instead. Democracy means debate, discussion and decision, not disruption, he said, adding that the chair wants the House to run with the full participation of members. The chairman also said the members should not try to blame the chair and drag it into a controversy over what has happened in the House on Sunday, and this was not the first time that members have been suspended. Mr. Naidu said he had allowed the motion moved by the government for suspension of some members over their unruly behavior as he was convinced about it. Lauding the Deputy Chairman Harivansh for the manner in which he handled the situation, Mr. Naidu said Harivansh announced for a division of vote at least 13 times in the House and called upon the protesting opposition members to go to their seats and move their resolutions, but they did not return to their seats. He said the Deputy Chairman acted with utmost restraint and handled the situation in a very deft manner. Mr. Naidu lamented that the chair has been dragged into the controversy and said members should not put the blame on the chair. He also lamented that the suspended members in an interview justified their action and showed no remorse. He said this is not the first time that the members have been suspended. Earlier, leader of the opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad demanded that new bills be brought to ensure that the centre and the states and private players buy food grains from farmers above the minimum support price. He said they would boycott the proceedings till the suspension of the members is revoked, and also demanded that the government bring another bill to ensure that no private player should buy food grains from farmers below the MSP fixed by the government. Mr. Azad demanded that the government should also ensure that the MSP is fixed as per the formula under Swaminathan Committee. He also demanded that the suspension of colleagues who have been suspended for the rest of the session be revoked. Till the government does these three things, they will boycott the session, Mr. Azad said while walking out of the House. 8 members of the Rajya Sabha were suspended on Monday over their unruly behavior during the passage of the 2 key farm-related bills on Sunday. Mr. Azad also said members should get more time to speak, and time constraint has become a major issue of discontent among opposition parties. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi said the government is not hell-bent upon keeping the suspended MPs out of the House. He said if they express regret, the government will look into it. Leader of the House, Thawarchand Gehlot, said the suspended members tried to portray that it is the mistake of the chair and not the opposition. He said this is not proper. Former Prime Minister and JDS leader H.D. Deve Gowda said the government and opposition should sit together to run the House. Professor Ram Gopal Yadav of the Samajwadi Party said a mistake has taken place by the opposition members, but elders should be large-hearted. He said he would apologize on their behalf. And now review of proceedings in the Lok Sabha. Writer is Achinta Bora of PTI. The Lok Sabha today passed 3 bills on Labour Code amid boycott of House proceedings by several opposition parties, including Congress, in protest against suspension of 8 MPs of the Rajya Sabha. The new legislations are Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code 2020, the Industrial Relations Code 2020 and the Code on Social Security 2020. Replying to the debate, Union Labour Minister Santosh Gangwar said the labour reforms will prove to be a milestone for the welfare of workers. He said these labour courts will play a significant role in protecting the interests of the labourers. Mr. Gangwar said the government has come out with the changes in the legislation after extensive consultations with state governments and other stakeholders. He said about 3/4 of the recommendations of the Standing Committee which scrutinized the codes have been incorporated in the bills by the government. Mr. Gangwar said among the prominent new inclusions in the laws are ensuring compensation to the labourers hit by accidents, easy dispute resolution mechanism for the labourers and facilities to register under ESI scheme even by small industrial units. According to the minister, over 29 labour laws have been merged into 4 codes and that 1 Code on Wages Bill 2019 of them has already been passed. The Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code 2020 will consolidate and amend the laws regulating the occupational safety, health and working conditions of the persons employed in an establishment and related matters. The Industrial Relations Code 2020 seeks to consolidate and amend the laws relating to trade unions, conditions of employment in industrial establishment or undertaking, investigation and settlement of industrial disputes. Similarly, the Code on Social Security 2020 will amend and consolidate the laws relating to social security with the goal to extend social security to all employees and workers either in the organized or unorganized sectors. Mr. Gangwar said efforts have been made to work out a balance between welfare of workers and ease of doing business for the industry. Initiating the debate on the bills, Pallab Lochan Das of the BJP said that it is for the first time that such an extensive labour reforms are being undertaken in the country. Although the country has 44 labour laws for the past several decades, the standard of living of workers has not improved, Das said. BJD member Pinaki Mishra said there could have been minimum health and safety standards in the code, and also suggested that the government to have a relook at the definition of workers. While supporting the bill, he also said that certain provisions needed to be relooked at. Margani Bharat of the YSR Congress said the codes will push forward the ease of doing business in the country as well as help in attracting more foreign direct investments. Others who participated in the debate include Virendra Kumar, Vinod Kumar Sonkar and Dilip Ghosh, all BJP, Jaydev Gala of the BJD, Dileshwar Kamat of the JDU, P. Ravindranath Kumar of AIADMK and Hanuman Beniwal of the RLP. Several opposition parties, including the Congress and the TMC, today boycotted Lok Sabha proceedings in solidarity with the 8 Rajya Sabha members who were suspended for unruly behaviour. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary of the Congress said all opposition parties are boycotting Parliament in solidarity with the Rajya Sabha members who were suspended on Monday. Opposition parties including Congress, TMC, BSP and TRS walked out of the Lok Sabha. Mr. Chaudhary, however, did not specify for how long the boycott would continue. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla warned that members should not mention about the proceedings of the Rajya Sabha. He said all references made by the members would be removed from the records. The opposition boycott came after 8 opposition MPs in the Rajya Sabha were suspended on Monday for the remainder of the monsoon session for unruly behaviour during the passage of the 2 farm bills, prompting the suspended leaders to go on an indefinite sit-in inside the Parliament complex. Earlier, the Lok Sabha had to be adjourned for an hour after a protest by opposition members who claimed that the government has done too little for the welfare of the farmers. Congress leader Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary said that Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar's announcement on increasing the minimum support price of the 6 Rabi crops was too little for farmers who have been agitating mainly in Punjab and Haryana against 2 farm bills passed by the Parliament. T.R. Balu of DMK and Kalyan Banerjee of TMC supported Mr. Chaudhary. When opposition members shouted slogans and came near the well of the House, Speaker Om Birla adjourned the House for an hour after about 15 minutes of business. Mr. Birla said the coronavirus pandemic is on and every member has to take precautions. He then adjourned the House for an hour. Farmer groups in Punjab, Haryana and some other states are protesting against the Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Bill 2020 and the Farmers Empowerment and Protection Agreement of Price Assurance and Farm Services Bill 2020. On Monday, Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar announced an increase in the MSP for 6 Rabi crops for 2020-21 crop year, July to June, and 2021-22 marketing season. The MSP for wheat, the biggest crop of the Rabi season, has been hiked by 50 rupees to 1,975 rupees per quintal. The MSP for gram has been increased by 225 rupees to 5,100 rupees per quintal. For barley by 75 rupees to 1,600 rupees per quintal. As soon as the House reassembled at 3 p.m., DM Kathir Anand of DMK alleged that 2 persons who claimed to be from the IB barged into his room at Old Tamil Nadu House in Delhi and sought to know from him about issues to be raised by the party in Parliament. Anand claimed that the 2 persons also wanted to know what would be the party's strategy and about some local issues of Tamil Nadu. They tried to interrogate me, he claimed, amid protest by DMK leader Balu and others. At this, the Lok Sabha Speaker said the 2 persons could be frauds. Ravneet Singh, Bittu of Congress, also claimed that he and 3 other MPs from the Punjab were brutally assaulted by Delhi police personnel outside Parliament on Monday evening when they were trying to take out a candlelight march to Rashtrapati Bhavan against the 2 farm bills. And that is all in the Parliament Review.
Thank you, Nishit. In more news, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will interact with fitness influencers and citizens during a nationwide online Fit India dialogue on Thursday, which is being organized to celebrate the first anniversary of the Fit India movement. On to sports now. In IPL cricket, Rajasthan Royals were 167 for 5 in 16.3 overs against Chennai Super Kings at Sharjah when reports last came in. Earlier, Chennai won the toss and elected to bowl. Now a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. Mumbai and Chennai will also have a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. Kolkata will witness a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. On to the north, in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, minimum temperature will be 24 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while maximum will be around 37. The city will have a mainly clear sky. Srinagar, minimum temperature will be around 10 degrees, maximum will be 30. As also in Ladakh, the city will have a mainly clear sky. Temperature will hover between 2 and 24 degrees. In Gilgit, temperature will hover between 10 and 34 degrees. In Muzaffarabad, there will be mainly clear sky. Temperature will hover between 15 and 35 degrees Celsius. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says national education policy will establish India as a global education destination. Parliament passes several important bills, including Essential Commodities Amendment Bill and Companies Amendment Bill. Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar accuses opposition of misleading farmers on farm bills. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 80.86%. Prime Minister to review preparedness of COVID response and management in 6 high-focus states and a union territory tomorrow. And Enforcement Directorate attaches 15 properties of underworld criminal Iqbal Mirchi in Dubai. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.